ReCraft delivered on the hotness. We have a beautiful woman laying next to a pool, and ReCraft provided an image which is, I would say, beautiful in its own way. ReCraft provided us with arguably a more realistic image. The image even looks a little bit nostalgic, as if it may have been taken around the time of the original Got Milk campaign. And when it does this, it uses AI to try to imagine what is underneath the area or the object that you are erasing. Sometimes it works, sometimes not so well. Actually, I feel like I did a pretty good job, where we can see the background removed again, and the results, I think you have to admit, are very nice. And here is the modified version with a different background on a beach, drinking her glass of milk. And it does seem to look a little better when I drag it up just a little bit higher right there. Very nice. Hey friends, Adrian here, the most interesting AI enthusiast in the world. I don't always use AI image generation platforms, but when I do, I prefer ReCraft. You might be wondering, Adrian, what is this ReCraft thing you've been talking about? I'm glad you asked. It's the powerhouse behind the red panda model that's giving Flux and Ideogram a run for their money. But before we dive in, let's address the burning questions I know you're asking. Is ReCraft really that good? Can ReCraft replace my current image generation tools? And will it make me an AI guru as irresistible as Adrian? Well, my friends, I'll have you know, I've created more AI art than Picasso and Leonardo put together. They actually never created AI art. Let me give you some context. Have you heard of the red panda model? It's the AI image creation model that's giving Flux and Ideogram some extremely compelling competition. Well, ReCraft is the company behind the amazing red panda model. ReCraft is an absolute powerhouse. This platform provides everything you need to create AI images, modify AI images, even create mockups, which is something very unique to the ReCraft platform. And ReCraft allows you to convert images into vector format, which is extremely useful for graphic design. Let's quickly browse some examples of what you can create using ReCraft. ReCraft allows you to create many different types of images. I'm currently browsing the community area of the ReCraft website. I've chosen photorealism, and I can browse through these examples. And for any of these, as I hover over, I can see the prompt that was used. I can actually click the image to get more details. And with the details opened, I can see the model that was used, hard flash. I can see the prompt. I get some different options to save to my favorites, to copy a link, or to download this image. I can see that this is a raster image as opposed to vector. We'll dive more into that in a little bit. And I can see my aspect ratio is a square, 1:1. Here are some more examples of photorealism images. We'll look at the other types of images quickly. We have illustration. We have vector art. We have icons. And this one, it says grain. You can think of these as the use of different gradients. Okay, friends, it's time to try out the platform for yourself. Just go to ReCraft.ai. In the top right corner, you'll see a button to log in. You'll click this, even if you don't have an account. You'll see options to create an account with your email address, or with your Google account, your Discord account, or even your Apple account. I'm going to go ahead and log in with my Google account. When you first log in, ReCraft presents you with this screen, which has some helpful information. In my opinion, starting out with a lot of tiny text is not the best way to get started. So here's what I want you to do. I want you to go all the way to the top left corner where you see the little house icon. And when you hover over it, it'll say projects. Go ahead and click that. Doesn't that feel better? Nice and organized. This is your home screen where you can see your different projects. And in case you're curious, the area that we were just in was this project, Basics, which has helpful information, as well as these other projects, Mockups, vector generation, remove background, erase area, and upscale. These all have helpful information. Feel free to explore these different projects and the information contained in each project. I think the best way to get you started with ReCraft is to provide you with a high-level overview of the features. However, your boy Adrian has organized a nice, structured way to lead you through everything that ReCraft can do for you. I'm going to go ahead and click Create New Project at the far left side of the screen. Feel free to follow along with me. I'm going to go ahead and give you an overview of the interface, which is going to give you a good idea of the features that are available. Keep in mind, this is a high-level overview. We're going to dive deep into some of these features, which I think you're going to find the most useful in just a little bit. In the far left corner, you'll see your home icon, which will take you back to your projects. Next to that, we have the ReCraft R with a little drop-down button, which we can click and we can see different options for projects, community favorites, history. Next, we have a little triangle with a little drop-down. If we click this, we can see this allows us to choose between two different tools. The Move tool is what we'll use to select different objects on the screen. The Hand tool is what we'll use to move our whole canvas. We have some handy-dandy shortcuts for you power users out there. V for Move and H for Hand tool. Next to that, we have an icon that allows us to create new images. Some of these icons are provided with some short little videos, so feel free to check those out. And then below the video, you'll see the description of the tool, new image, and you'll see the keyboard shortcut, I. Next to that, we have the Frame tool, and you'll see we have a keyboard shortcut of F. You can think of a Frame tool as basically a container for your images. Next to that, we have the Mockup tool, which sets ReCraft apart from other AI image generating platforms. This feature is a lot of fun. You're going to love it. Stay tuned. Then we have the Text tool. We have a tool for comments, and we can import images by clicking right here. However, there's more options hidden away under this little drop down. Just click right there and you'll see a variety of different selections here. We have 3 different other tool selections, and then we have different shapes to choose from down below. The icon that you see right here will actually be whatever you used last in this menu. So if I was to choose the rectangle tool and draw a rectangle, then that is what you'll see right there. I'm going to go ahead and delete that rectangle. We don't need that right now, but just remember, whatever you chose last will be represented right there. Over on the right side of the screen, we have a button to earn credits. I'm going to go ahead and click here, and you'll see that you can invite friends and earn credits even with your free plan. When you do, you'll get 200 bonus credits, and the person that you refer gets 200 bonus credits. Speaking of, don't forget to use the link in the description so you can hook your boy Adrian up with some free credits as well. I'm going to go ahead and use the browser back button to go back to where we were. Next to earn credits, you'll see share, which will allow us to share our project. And when we do, we can specify whether the person is a viewer or a commentator. Next to the share button, we can see the number of credits that we have left. On the free plan, you currently get 50 free credits a day, which I think is pretty generous. Next to that, we have our upgrade option, which will show us the different pricing plans. Don't worry, I'll give you the full scoop on that later in this video. And then next to that, you'll see a little avatar, and in clicking here, we'll give you some other menu options relating to settings and managing your subscription. Over the left side of the screen, you'll see this panel where it says Create New, and we have these 4 different options for image, frame, image set, and mockup. These are just some handy shortcuts for some options that we already touched on earlier. I know I haven't shown you how these work yet. I just want to give you a quick overview of the interface and the different features available. And don't worry, your boy's going to show you how to use those tools in just a little bit. In the bottom right side of the screen, you'll see we can undo. Honestly, friends, how many times has the undo feature saved your life? Me, many times. Next to that, we have redo. So if you undo too much, you can redo so you can get right back to the position where you want to be. Next to that, we see this. This is the level of zoom that we have on our project, and you'll see that in action in a little bit. Next to that, we have a layers icon, and you'll see the value of this in a little bit when we start to have different items on the canvas. Next to that, we have a little eyeball icon for gallery, and this is actually very handy. If we open this up, we can see that we have community, favorites, and history. So we can actually browse through images provided by the community, and we can filter these by vector art, illustrations, icons, photorealism. We can browse through to find something that we find interesting. When we do find something interesting, we can click to add it to our project. And once we do add it to our project, we can actually see the settings that were used to create this image over here on the left side. This was created using the photorealistic model. The prompt was simply cyborg feminism. It was created with a 1:1, a square aspect ratio. So what we could then do is we could use these settings to create a new image. We can modify the prompt or modify anything that we would like here and create a new image. For a moment here, let me bring your attention to the top of this area where we have new, fine-tune, and variate. This area, which we currently have selected, as you can see, because it's in bold text, this allows us to use the settings from this image and create a brand new image. However, if we really want to leverage this image to a greater degree, we can click fine-tune. And right here, we can see a slider which controls exactly how much weight this image will play in our new creation. You'll see the slider defaults to being right in the middle. We can drag this to the far left and we can say just a little bit similar. Or we can drag to the far right and say almost identical. We can control how much we want our new image to be influenced by this image. And then over here, this variant allows us to actually create new versions of this image in different aspect ratios. And for a moment, I'm going to go back to new, and I want to bring your attention to something. We have the ability right here to specify different colors for our creation. We can select a different color palette, and we can ask ReCraft for a new creation. However, what we can also do is go down to the bottom here and adjust colors. So you may be thinking, why are there two areas to adjust colors? This allows you to actually adjust colors for your current image. This area down here does not generate a new creation and therefore does not use more of your credits. You can just click right there and then you can control the color spectrum. For example, I'm going to move the slider and watch the colors in the image as I do. I'm going to move it to the left and you'll see the colors adjust. And then if I move to the right, you'll see the colors adjust. I'm going to move it back to the middle. I can also adjust the saturation. I can bring that up, or I can take it all the way down for a black and white image. I can adjust the brightness and the contrast and the opacity. I might want to adjust the opacity if I want to layer different images. This ability to adjust colors, I think you'll find very useful since you can do this without using up more credits, and you don't need to export the image and then import it into another tool like Photoshop to take care of this type of editing. I'm going to go back to the right-hand side to also bring your attention to the other tabs we have over here. Under the gallery, we have favorites, which I don't have any favorites so far, but I can tag my own creations as favorites or images from the community. And then I also have a tab for history. However, I just created a new account, so I have nothing in my history at this point. But just as we pulled in this image from the community, we can do that as well for images that we've tagged as our favorites or our own history of images. All right, friends, let's create our first image. We can do that by clicking the image icon up here in this toolbar. We can also do that by clicking right over here, this image shortcut. And there's one other way we can create a new image. Yes, our handy dandy keyboard shortcut of using the letter I. So I just clicked I on the keyboard, which puts us into image creation mode. And what I'll do is I'll go ahead and click on our project area. And then I have a rectangle created for our new image. Over here in the image creation panel, you can see that we can specify our width and our height. And we can even specify whether we want the corners to be rounded. Underneath that, you see we have the option to choose the model or style that we would like to use. I'm going to go ahead and click this, and you'll see we have a variety of styles to choose from. We can even create our own styles, which right now I have none. I'm going to go ahead and click the Explore so we see all of the built-in ReCraft styles. Over here, you'll see that we can choose between ReCraft v3 or ReCraft 20B. Now, normally when you see a higher number, that's the most recent version. However, this is not ReCraft version 20. This is ReCraft version 2.0B. Even though it does not say 2.0, you can think of it as 2.0. Version 3 right now is the latest, so I would recommend that you use version 3. Next, you'll see we have a drop down for different categories of styles, which we can choose raster and vector, photorealism, illustration, vector art, or icon. I'm going to go ahead and choose the first one for raster and vector. ReCraft will default to this first option, ReCraft V3 Raw, which is extremely good. And in most cases, you'll probably just want to use this one. If you want to target one of these other styles, feel free to select one of these. However, even in the ReCraft V3 Raw, you can specify anime or illustration, and you will get those type of results. So feel free to experiment. For our first image creation, I'm going to go ahead and go with the default of ReCraft V3 Raw. I'm going to click back over here to close the style panel. And if I click right next to the styles, you'll see we have this icon in which we can click and we can add notes for items that we want to make sure we exclude from our image creation. This is the area in which we'll add our image prompt. And then below that, we can specify our aspect ratio, which defaults to a square of 1:1. And we can slide it to the left if we want it to be more landscape. And we can slide it to the right if we want it to be more portrait. I'm going to go ahead and put it back to 1:1. Below the aspect ratio, you'll see the number of images that you want to create on each rendering. Since each image creation uses a credit, I like to just put this down to the minimum because with each image creation, I may decide that I want to modify my prompt or some other setting. For our first example, let's create an image of Lara Croft wrestling an anaconda, and let's see what we get. I would say that this image is okay, but I'm confident that we can do much better. I've gone ahead and created a more detailed prompt by simply asking ChatGPT to rewrite this prompt using my focus prompt writing framework, which is super simple to do. I've covered this in previous videos. I'm also going to provide the instructions in the notes below, and feel free, if you have any questions, to reach out in the comments, and I'd be happy to explain that further. When I click the ReCraft button down below to create the image, we're going to experience a small issue, which we are going to do on purpose because I want to show you something and how to address it. So I'm going to go ahead and click ReCraft. And you see we have this, no, you are better than that. Watch your profanity, please. Well, it's not exactly profanity, but there are some words that ReCraft doesn't really care for. And I know that this is one of them, but because I did specify that I want her to have a round butt, because who doesn't love a round butt? So I'm going to go ahead and change butt to bottom. And let's see if ReCraft is happy with the rest of my prompt. I'm going to go ahead and click ReCraft. If there were any issues, we would have received a prompt. So we are fine. And so we have a new image. And it's okay, but still not great. I'm going to zoom in a little bit so we get a better view of the image. Instead of the ReCraft V3 Raw style, let's try the photorealism style. And let's see if that helps. I think it's better. Sometimes with AI, you just roll the dice again. Let's just click ReCraft again. Same style, same prompt. Let's see if we get something better. Okay, I like this one. I feel that it's dramatic. I feel our Lara Croft looks pretty good. There's something happening in the jungle. There's a light in the jungle. I don't know what that could be. That's mysterious. Overall, I'm pretty happy with this one. But I am curious if we can get a little better. I'm happy with my prompt. I'm happy with the style that we have chosen. Let's roll the dice again. See what we get. Okay, so this is following the prompt a little better because I am specifying in the prompt that she is wrestling an anaconda. I'm thinking one more roll of the die. Feeling lucky? All right, I think we're going with that. She's wrestling the anaconda. We have some nice dramatic lighting. And just in case you're curious why we have this little square down here, if we were to choose 2 images, 3 images, 4 images, we would see a different small thumbnail for each of those images. Click to see the differences between those different images. We've recently created some really great images in Ideogram. If you haven't checked out my video in Ideogram, make sure you check it out. The link is right up there. Let's see what ReCraft can do with those same image prompts that we used in Ideogram. Here's our medieval woman. In this case, I would say that Ideogram actually provided a more realistic image. Here is our Victorian woman prompt. Also in this example, I would have to say Ideogram provided a more realistic and, in my opinion, much more aesthetically pleasing image. And here we can compare our 1950s Hollywood movie star. I actually specified color, and Ideogram really wanted the image to be black and white. We not only have the color that I asked for in the image from ReCraft, but also the color feels very 1950s-like. Overall, the image has that 1950s feel. In my opinion, ReCraft easily won this round. Okay, here we have our futuristic warrior. For this example, I think both Ideogram and ReCraft did a pretty good job. However, I'm just more drawn to the picture that Ideogram created. I like the aesthetics better. I like that we have the vanishing point where everything is coming together in the back of the picture as it goes back in space. Okay, let's move on. As far as the woman swimming, ReCraft clearly created a more realistic image. However, I asked for top-rated AI to be written in the coral, and Ideogram provided that. Now, I did ask that it be provided in an organic way. I wanted it to look more natural, where you almost don't see the letters, but then after a few seconds, you do see the letters. I did not get that in either one of these, but at least Ideogram delivered the text written in coral. And that's really what I was trying to achieve in this picture. So I want to give this one to Ideogram. Here we have our anime warrior. And while I feel that the anime character in both of these images looks great, I like the way top-rated AI is written much better in the version created by Ideogram. The font seems more appropriate to the environment and the era in which this picture is representing. The colors in the Ideogram image are richer. And our anime warrior, I think, just looks better and hotter. And that matters. I also wanted to see how a pirate concept would come out in Ideogram versus ReCraft. They are both surreal. They're both definitely have that illustration type of look. I would say that both of them have a very action-oriented look where things are happening, things are moving, and there's some excitement to both of these pictures. I feel that there's a little more excitement to the Ideogram version. I also asked for top-rated AI to be written in the cell in lettering that would be appropriate for the pirate era. And I feel that Ideogram did a great job. I love the font, even that there's two colors in the fonts. So besides the grayish black, there's also a red in the font, which I think looks great. ReCraft did not impress me with their font. Overall, I like what Ideogram provided better. I feel that it's more exciting, and I feel that our character looks better overall. So for this one, I'm going with Ideogram. All right, friends, and we have our classic zero gravity pellifite. I say classic sarcastically because I've never heard of this before I created it for our Ideogram video. I think it's a good concept. As a matter of fact, I wouldn't mind participating in either one of these pellifites. As far as nice coloring, I like the Ideogram version better. I feel like there's more interesting colors and contrasts as opposed to the ReCraft version where there's a lot of white or off-white. Also, this is supposed to be zero gravity, which Ideogram delivered for us. And it seems that ReCraft completely ignored that aspect of our prompt. So this one, I'm clearly giving to Ideogram. So we've had a lot of fun creating different anthropomorphic images. However, when it comes to images with anthropomorphic characters, ReCraft is not going there if it's not playing that game. Same prompt, and ReCraft basically gave us two dogs. So, Ideogram, you won this competition. And when we put our Meowtrix prompt into ReCraft, we do have a somewhat anthropomorphic cat. Our Matrix version cat looks much like our Ideogram cat. Pretty good there. However, ReCraft decided to ignore the inclusion of our movie title. So for this one, I'm also declaring the winner to be Ideogram. At this point in my image creations, I'm thinking that ReCraft really wants to provide a real-world representation of whatever I write my prompt. So instead of ReCraft giving us a movie poster, it looks like the dog and cat are basically posed in front of a wall with Darth Vader painted on the wall. So for this one, also, I'm giving to Ideogram. Okay, moving to our text on clothing category, ReCraft delivered on the hotness. We have a beautiful woman laying next to a pool. However, ReCraft seemed to struggle with the placement of the words, where Ideogram respected that top would be on one side of the top, rated would be on the other side of the top, and then AI would be on the bikini bottoms. ReCraft actually put top on her shoulder, rated on the top. So got that one, and then AI over here on the side of the pool. So again, for this one, the winner is also going to be Ideogram. Okay, continuing with our text on clothing category, booty shorts. So we have this beautiful image from Ideogram, very aesthetically pleasing, if I do say so myself. And ReCraft provided an image which is, I would say, beautiful in its own way. However, I don't really understand why she's holding a camera up to her forehead. And ReCraft did not deliver any wording on the actual booty shorts, which is what I asked for. So Ideogram, good job. So when it comes to booty shorts, I'm still going to Ideogram. Okay, our got milk picture. ReCraft provided us with arguably a more realistic image. The image even looks a little bit nostalgic, as if it may have been taken around the time of the original Got Milk campaign, which I don't know when exactly that was, but I know it was quite a while back. However, in my humble opinion, Ideogram provided us with a more beautiful woman, definitely a more curvy woman, and I like that. And so, again, I'm going to have to give this one to Ideogram. At this point, you may be thinking, why would I ever use ReCraft when Ideogram seems to provide better images in a lot of different situations? I would say, if your goal is to create very realistic images, ReCraft might provide you with better images. However, for me, I like to play with different concepts or different eras. I feel that the more creative I get and the further away from reality I get, ReCraft struggles. And instead of giving me a realistic image, it'll give me something that looks more like an illustration. However, the ReCraft platform is pretty unique in that it provides you with the ability to create mockups and the ability to convert and to export images using the vector format, which is extremely useful. Besides having the ability to create some very realistic images, ReCraft provides some very powerful image editing tools. Let's explore those now. I'm going to go ahead and click this image so that it is selected. And what you'll notice is as soon as I click this image, I have additional tools available for me at the top of the screen. To replace an object, simply click this first tool, which is the Modify Area tool, and then draw around the object that you'd like to replace. For example, let's replace this sword. And I'm going to draw slightly outside because I want to make sure that I replace this completely. You're going to draw all the way around back to your starting point and then let go. And then your item will be selected. And then we can go over here to our prompt box and just type in what we would like to replace this with. And when you're in the prompt box, you'll also see down here, the button says Modify Area. That's how you kind of know that you're in this replace mode as opposed to like a new image creation mode. And I'm going to say massive futuristic guitar. And then I'll click Modify Area. And let's see what we get. Okay, so we've replaced our massive sword with a big guitar. And I think it looks pretty good. Of course, it's in a weird position. It's not how you would normally hold a guitar. However, given that we were replacing a sword that was basically in this position, I think ReCraft did a pretty good job. At this point, I would like to remove the dotted line so I can see our modification a little better. I'm going to go ahead and press the V key, and now I'm back to the Move tool, and the selection line has disappeared, and now we can see our modification. And at the bottom of the screen, we can actually toggle between the original image and the modified image by clicking each of these thumbnails. Okay, now let's look at the Erase Area tool. That will be the second icon at the top, the little eraser. go ahead and click right there. And then we can adjust our brush size. If you'd like to see what your current brush size is, just hover over your image and you'll see your current brush size. I think that's actually a good size, but we can adjust it up or lower depending on how coarse or granular we'd like to get with our brush strokes. And I'm going to move it like right there. I think that'll be good. In my experimenting with this, I found that it works best when used very gradually. If you try to erase too much and go too aggressively, it just doesn't seem to work at all. I'm actually going to lower this just a little more. And what I'm going to try to do is just modify her top. And I will go ahead and erase this area. And then I'll continue to hold down and erase over here. And then when I let go, then ReCraft will go to work to try to erase that area. And when it does this, it uses AI to try to imagine what is underneath the area or the object that you are erasing. Sometimes it works, sometimes not so well. Actually, I feel like I did a pretty good job. So we can see the difference if we go to the bottom and we click on the original, and then we click on our modified version. And you can see, especially on this right side, that there's definitely more cleavage showing. So, like I said, when you use this gradually in small iterations, I think you'll find the best results. Okay, now we're going to explore the Remove Background tool. That would be the scissors right there, the third icon. Just click the little scissors and ReCraft will go to work to try to detect the background and remove it. Our background has been removed and ReCraft did a great job. I'm going to go ahead and hit Command Z, the undo button, because I want you to see how much detail there was in the background that ReCraft did a great job of removing. Command Z, and there's our background, and there's a lot of detail. Some tools do a great job of removing the background when the background is a clearly different color and it's solid. However, in this situation, we have a very intricate, very detailed background, and the coloring is not drastically different than our character, and ReCraft did an amazing job. I'm going to go ahead and click the redo button in the bottom right-hand corner to go a step forward where we can see the background removed again, and the results, I think you have to admit, are very nice. Besides just removing the background, we can also replace the background. To do that, just click the next icon, which looks almost like a little camera with lines through it, or a sunset with lines through it. I'm not sure exactly what that's supposed to be, but let's click that icon, and ReCraft will go ahead and work on detecting the background, and it'll put lines where that background is, and then we can replace that background. There we go. The lines represent the background. Then I'm going to go ahead and paste in a description of what I'd like in the background, a beach with a gorgeous sunset. And you can see right here, the button says change background, which is a helpful reminder of what function we're actually working with. I'm going to go ahead and click. Let's see what we get. All right. And we can see the difference by clicking the thumbnails below. Here's the original in a studio. And here is the modified version with a different background on a beach, drinking her glass of milk. Now let's take a look at the mockup feature. This is a really awesome feature. It's unique to ReCraft, and I think you're going to love it. To get started, click the little t-shirt icon right there. This is the icon for a new mockup. And then click in your canvas in your project area. And then I'm going to paste in a prompt that I've already prepared. If you're following along, feel free to go ahead and type in a short prompt. I like my more detailed prompts. I feel that they give me more control over the image. Basically, what I'm going for is a sleek, futuristic 2030 McLaren concept car. Feel free to go ahead and type in something like that. Your prompt does not need to be super long like mine. And I'm going to click ReCraft. Okay, so we have our concept car. And you'll notice that we also have this green image placeholder right here on top of our concept car. And that is so we can go ahead and create another image to overlay on our concept car. I have another prompt prepared, which I'll paste in. This prompt is basically to create a futuristic logo for top-rated AI. If you're following along, feel free to type a short prompt, and I will click ReCraft. We have our logo, and we can actually move this around, and we can resize it. I'm going to go ahead and zoom in a little bit so we can see this better. I'm on a Mac. I'm going to hold down Command, and I'm going to use the trackpad to move in. And then what I'm going to do is resize this. And I'm going to hover over the corner here till I get the curved arrow, and I'm going to rotate. And I'm going to manipulate this back and forth until I feel that I have it just right. Resize a little more, reposition, and I feel that it's looking pretty good. However, we do have an issue here. This image, as you can see from this little thumbnail down here, we have a white background, which we should get rid of to make this turn out better. To do that, I'm actually going to zoom back out, and I'm going to drag our image outside of the mockup over here, and then I can manipulate it and then drag it back in. Okay, so here's our logo. I'd like to clean this up. I'm going to click on the image. It looks a little strange. For some reason, it's detecting the letters AI and it's making those big. When we actually select the image, I think it's going to be okay. Just go ahead and click the scissors for the remove background function. Okay, now if we click away, you'll see that we have a nice clean image without the white background. I think this is going to work really well. So let me go ahead and zoom out a little bit. Now I'm going to select this image and I'm going to drag it over to our mockup. And then I'm going to zoom in so we can get a better view. And then we'll manipulate this back and forth until we have it just right. And now I think it's going to look much better without that white background. I'm going to go ahead and make it smaller and move it to the hood. Or maybe turn it just a little bit more. And I think that might be good. I like it. And that's the power of the mockup feature. However, stay tuned because I have a couple more fun examples that we're going to try using the mockup tool. Okay, let's click our little t-shirt icon again. And let's click on our canvas. This time we're going to put a logo on some booty shorts. Why not? Okay, we have our booty shorts image and we have our green image placeholder on top. I'm going to go ahead and click the delete key because we're not going to use that image placeholder for this example. Instead, this time, I'm actually going to import the official top-rated AI logo. I'm going to go up to the top and I'm going to click the last icon for import image. Okay, friends, I've imported the official top-rated AI lettering and I've also imported the official top-rated AI mark. And let's go ahead and place those. I'm going to click this and I know that I'm going to need it smaller. We drag it down and now let me drag it over to our mockup. This is what happens when you drag an imported image. It goes big. You just have to drag it down and work with that a little bit. Let's continue to work with it. I think we'll get it worked out. Okay, we're getting there. Wherever it is, it's trying to conform to the object. That's why it can be a little weird to work with. However, you'll get the hang of it pretty quickly. Then you can place that where you would like it. See, it's already trying to detect the shirt, and it knows that the shirt wraps under the arms, and so it's trying to go ahead and address that and handle that, which is very cool. I'm going to put it right there. Okay, I think that's pretty good. Now we need to put this onto the booty shorts, and let's drag that down some more, and let's see what we get. I'm going to move the workspace a little bit and let's resize. Fantastic. I love this tool. Look how it follows the curvature of her body. Beautiful. Maybe just a little smaller so it's not cutting into the waistband. I think we're good. What do you think? Have I earned your like, your subscribe, your comment, your share? I actually have one more fun example using the mockup tool. So let's go. Let's click our little t-shirt icon and then let's click in our project area. I'm going to go ahead and paste a prompt here. If you're following along, feel free to type just this first part. We're basically trying to get a buxom woman wearing a fitted plain white t-shirt, and then we're going to put a logo on that t-shirt. I'm going to go ahead and click ReCraft. Okay, we have a beautiful image. We do not need this image placeholder on top. I'm going to remove that. I'm going to zoom in a little bit on our image of this beautiful woman. I'm going to import a logo by clicking our little import button. All right, I've imported an image of the top-rated AI logo and lettering all together, and we're going to go ahead and place this on our image. And I know that I'm going to need this a little smaller. Let me go ahead and drag it down. It always seems to enlarge when we drag it over our image. Let's take it down like that. And then just look at that. Okay, and let's take it down quite a bit more. And keep modifying until we have it just right. Okay, let's move this. And then let's go ahead and turn it a little bit and reposition it a little bit. I think we're good. Let's zoom in to admire our work. Now, I do notice the AI right here at the edge is a little bit strange. I think it's trying to conform to the shape. It's not quite conforming, but besides that, I think it looks pretty good. And of course, you can reposition it higher or lower to see what turns out better. And it does seem to look a little better when I drag it up just a little bit higher right there. Very nice. One of the very powerful things about ReCraft is the ability to convert ordinary images into vector images. And this is extremely useful when you're dealing with logos. To demonstrate, I'm going to go ahead and press I on my keyboard to get the image creation tool. I'm going to click on the canvas and I'm going to zoom out a little bit. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to paste in the same prompt I used earlier to create a custom top-rated AI logo. And I'm going to go ahead and click ReCraft. Okay, I have a logo. And this time I did not select to render one image, so I actually have two logos to choose from. I have this one and I have this one. Let's go ahead and use this first one. Converting this to a vector is super easy. All I have to do is make sure that this image is selected. And with this selected, I will simply click this icon right here. And this will convert it to a vector. Okay, we now have our vector. And I know that it's a vector because we now have some vector options over here on the left side of the screen. You'll notice right down here that this logo currently consists of 229 colors. However, often in graphic design, especially when you're creating logos, you usually want to reduce the number of colors you're using to a very small number, maybe just 3 or 2 or even 1. And we can easily do that simply by dragging the slider down, and you'll see the image change as I reduce the number of colors. And you'll see that we end up with a much more simplified version of the logo. As a matter of fact, if I take it down too far, our logo disappears. But let's just take it up a little and you'll see that we have this very simple version of the logo that only consists of 2 colors. I'm going to drag that back up a little bit and you'll see down here that we can actually browse different color palettes. We can try this palette or this palette, and we can do some experimenting with all kinds of different options for colors. And some of those are hideous. If our logo turns out to be too much of a disaster, we can always go to the top and click reset and do more experimenting from there. For example, without reducing our number of colors, if we now explore our color palettes, they might come out a little bit better because we're dealing with more colors. Still pretty crazy. And I'm just going to go back and reset. Another fantastic attribute to having a vector image is that we can now export this in SVG format and Lottie format. One of the great benefits of having a vector-based image is that it can be enlarged infinitely because a vector image is based on mathematical computations. I know, pretty fancy. Friends, in case you've ever wondered about the possibility to create logos and sell those for money, ReCraft is the perfect tool to allow you to do that. Feel free to experiment and create all kinds of different logos. And then when you find one that your customer likes, you can simply convert it to vector and export it in SVG format, and then deliver that logo, get paid, and your customer can use that logo for something as small as a business card, all the way up to printing it on a billboard. The options are endless. To simplify the cost breakdown, let me go ahead and explain what you get in the free plan versus what you get in the paid plans. The free plan, your images are public. You get up to 2 images per prompt, and each image uses a single credit. As I mentioned earlier, I would recommend adjusting the sliders so you only output a single image per prompt, therefore saving your credits. And if you opt for any of the paid plans, your images will be private. You can use your images for commercial purposes. You can use the Creative Upscale tool. Your image creations will receive priority in the queue. However, even with the free plan, the image creations are pretty fast. You can process up to 10 concurrent jobs, and you can produce up to 4 outputs per each prompt, which would effectively use 4 credits per prompt. So those are the basic differences between the free plan and the paid plans. Other than that, each plan allows you a different number of credits. The free plan provides you with 50 credits every day. However, there is a cap of 50 credits, so those credits do not carry over day to day. But each day you will have 50 credits. And then we have 3 paid plans. The basic plan, which is $12 a month, provides you with 1,000 credits monthly. In addition, you get your 50 credits per day, and those are not capped, so those will accumulate. The next plan is called the advanced plan, and that's $33 a month, and you receive 4,000 credits monthly, and the accumulation of your 50 credits a day. The last paid plan is the Pro plan, which is $60 a month and provides you with 8,400 credits monthly, plus the 50 bonus daily credits. Friends, ReCraft is packed with features: image creation, image manipulation, mockup functionality, and vector tools. You can have projects which can contain multiple images, even images that you create in other tools, and then you import those. There's a lot you can do. So the platform may not seem super intuitive at first. However, if you spend some time with ReCraft, you'll realize that its usability is actually pretty good, considering all that it can do. That being said, I do think the interface could be a little more simplified and streamlined. Speed. Is ReCraft going to deliver my creations and edits in a speedy manner? In the exhaustive amount of research that I've done, each of my creations and edits took under 10 seconds. This is the fastest I've seen in the AI image creation game. Friends, if you enjoyed this tutorial half as much as I've enjoyed delivering it, why not hit that like button? It's right there. It's not going to click itself. And while you're at it, why not subscribe? More of this? Yes, please. But wait, there's more. I always wanted to say that. Now that you've created some amazing AI images with ReCraft, why not bring them to life? Make sure you check out my video and pics first, where we turn your AI art into moving, breathing masterpieces. Until next time, stay creative, my friends.